Hi, I'm OMFG Really Nikki, and this video is one I've never done before. It's something that I've thought for a while if I was even going to do videos on this topic, but I've decided that I will. I'm sorry I don't have makeup on except for some lipstick. This week has been really crazy, and so was last week. I just haven't had time to even do any of that, so this is just kind of a quick video, so please bear with me in that regard. This video is about MLMs, which I've actually been a part of quite a few MLMs, and I've actually been successful in a decent amount. Like, I'll get into the list of all of the ones that I've been a part of, but since I was probably like 18, I've been in so many different MLMs. And like I said, I've been successful in some of them. Some of them I just did because I wanted a discount, but I've experienced a lot of things that I see a lot of like anti-MLM videos talking about, but I feel like from my standpoint, I would like to do something a little bit different. While I personally feel like I'm pretty anti-MLM, I don't really like to support MLMs because I don't like what they do to people, and I don't particularly like their business model. I don't think all of them are horrible. There's definitely some that I haven't really heard about as super problematic. But I see a lot of, like, there's a lot of people that are in MLMs that are absolutely just hateful and rude and just say the most awful things. Basically, you're just happy being a broke bitch and you don't care. Like, you're just gonna be a loser and work a 9 to 5, which if you work a 9 to 5, you're not a loser. Nobody's obligated to be a salesperson. Not everyone is even designed to sell things. That's just reality. And I don't like that super aggressive, harsh energy, but not all MLM people are like that. And I see a lot of that on social media though. And I also see a lot of anti-MLM videos that are like super aggressive, like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like, almost like condescending, like, how could you be so dumb to join an MLM? And I don't think all of them are like that. There's a couple channels, which I'll link some of the channels that I've watched down below. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't know them personally, but they do make pretty good content, and I enjoy watching their videos. But there's a few that I've seen that are like really aggressive and really hateful. And I think the thing is, to me, the question is, okay, can you be in an MLM and be successful? And I think depending on what MLM it is, and your mindset, your attitude, I think you can be successful, but it depends on what your level of success. If you're thinking in a year I'm going to be a millionaire living in a mansion, I don't think that's realistic, because the reality is, even if you're not in an MLM and you're just a salesperson, being a salesperson and working off commission is just difficult. And one of the biggest things I feel like you need to watch out for is, if you want to be in an MLM, look at your commission. What are the rates that you start out making? Because they tell you you could be your own business owner, but the reality is you're working for them, only you're not getting paid an hourly wage. You don't own your own business. If you own your own business, you control what you charge, you control what you sell. You're developing products and stuff like that. You don't have that access. You don't have that power. So there's no way you can own your own business. You may work for yourself, essentially. So like, the more work you put in, the more money you could make. But it doesn't always work like that either, because you can put hours and hours and hours and not make anything. And then other days, in an hour, make a ton of money. It just, you have no idea, because every single person you encounter is going to be different. So it's important to remember those things. But I think the number one thing when you're like, hey, should I do this? This looks interesting. I think maybe I would be good at this. Look at what your percentage or your profit margin is. I would say the minimum, the absolute minimum starting wage, or not wage, but like commission rate, should be minimum 30%, if not 35. I personally would say 35, but I'd say as long as it goes up at some point, 30% might be okay. But if it's 25, 20, anything like that, it's too low, because even at 30 to 35%, you're not making a huge amount per sale. But it's important that you make at least 30%, because you're the one who's putting all the work in. And these products are marked up, truthfully. The reason, like, they love to tell you these products sell themselves, but it's not true, because if they sold themselves, they wouldn't actually need consultants to push the product. They need you, only they don't want to pay you an hourly wage. And it's important to know that. Again, like, this is not meant to be a negative video. These are just honest truths. And it's like that even in the corporate world. If you work for somebody, you have to have a certain mindset, and you have to be aware of certain things, because nobody wants to be taken advantage of. So please take everything that I'm saying and listen before you think that I'm like going off and talking badly about MLMs. While I personally am not a fan of the business model, I do think that there is a possibility for some level of success for people. And I know not everybody's ready to quit their MLM or to just be like, I'm never going to do it, or I'm okay with it, whatever. Like, whatever your standpoint is, that's fine. But this video is just to at least educate people so that they know what they're getting into, and hopefully will have a realistic expectation of what their success could potentially look like. Because people love to tell you, oh, what would you do with an extra $1,000 a month? But what they don't tell you is how many hours more than any 9 to 5 you're gonna have to work to even make half of that. You work a lot more hours for a lot less per hour. And it's pretty much always like that. It's very rare that you're making a ton of money unless you get into an MLM right at the beginning. Because the ones who first start, that's when there's not very many consultants. When you're recruiting a lot and that's where your main money is coming from, that's when you know you're gonna have a problem. Because if you can't make your money selling the product, that should be a red flag. Definitely a red flag. To me, the way that I feel, what I was talking about the 30 to 35% minimum, I feel like that's a very important thing, because you want to make sure that you're getting compensated at least decently for your time. And I feel like that's probably about the discount that you get for products. And if you're selling something, unfortunately, you usually need to have some of it. But they love to tell you, oh, be your best customer, be your best client, whatever. Don't do that. Don't max out credit cards. Don't be carrying a bunch of inventory. And in fact, I personally would stay away from any company that's telling you carry inventory. Like, I know Mary Kay likes to do that. I know LuLaRoe does that, which things like that, like when you have to carry inventory, I feel like that's a huge red flag, because there's no guarantee what your current market in your area is like, and they don't give you any statistics or any real information. And not all companies even give you leads to be able to sell them. So you're just stuck sometimes with thousands of products that you may never be able to sell. And a lot of companies have rules about you can't sell it on eBay. You can't sell it in certain, markets. You can't go on Facebook or whatever. Not all of them are like that, but some of them do have weird rules like that. So it's important to know those things. So I would stay away from low percentages. I would stay away from companies that push a lot of inventory. Of course, I think it is kind of important when you do want some kind of a kit so you can show the products. But I think it really, that's why you need to, like, before you invest your money, you need to break it down and like step by step and be like, okay, what about this? What about that? And make sure all these boxes are checked off so that you know that you're educated, you're setting yourself up for success, and you're not just throwing money away and essentially going to be like just upset because you failed. And it's not your fault that you failed a lot of times. A lot of times the things that they hype you up and tell you are not true. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do the business, but I do think you need to make sure that you're aware and educated of these things. One of the other things is a lot of people sign up for these thinking, oh, my friends and family will support me. The honest to God truth with that is that not everyone is going to buy from you. It's not because they don't want to support you. It's not because they don't care about you. Not everybody has the same needs. If you're selling shampoo, some people have very delicate skin. Some people can't afford a $40 bottle of shampoo. Some people have heard bad things about it. Some people have already tried it and didn't like it. Or some people don't like certain types of clothes. They don't like a bunch of flashy patterns. Some people had bad reactions to certain skin products. Some people don't like taking supplements. Whatever the business may be, people have valid reasons for not being interested, and you should not take it personally when someone's like, no. And a lot of times uplines love to tell you like, oh, just keep on them. Just basically harass them. Don't harass people. Don't be a dick about it. And don't have an expectation that when you sign up for this, you sign up for that. Nobody else in your family, nobody in your friends, nobody on your Facebook, literally no one else in your circle signed up for this MLM shit. You have to be like, hey, this is me. I'm doing this. I'm responsible for that. So let me work my business. Is it okay to talk about it? Absolutely. You can say, hey, I'm doing this. If anyone's interested, feel free to send me a message. That is an awesome way to talk about it to people. But when you're bombarding people with cold messages, it's rude. Like, it's never worked on me, and honestly, like, it makes me want to block people because I'm like, you've added me, never interacted with me at all, and now suddenly you want me to share some post on my page to help your business. I'm not obligated to do that. And it's not because I don't care about other people. I absolutely do care about people. And I don't want to see anyone not be successful, but I don't know who you are, and I'm not going to share this crap on my page. Honestly, when people tag me and stuff, I don't even approve it for my page. I just don't. I don't like a bunch of stuff on my page as it is. Like, sometimes I'll share something I find funny, but beyond that, that's not for me. So things like that, you cannot bank on your family, your friends, or people that, you know, your neighbors, whatever, are gonna be willing to purchase from you. And you can't take it personally, like, oh, they're just not being supportive of my business or whatever. It doesn't work like that. Just like if you open a store, not everybody's gonna shop there. Just because you open it right next to certain people that you thought would purchase it doesn't mean that they will. And this is the same kind of concept. No one is obligated to shop with you. And a lot of times MLMs charge twice as much as things that you could get with the same ingredients, the same quality, sometimes made from the same labs. You know, like, so a lot of MLM products are just developed at random labs around the world that make other people's products. So you're selling an overpriced version sometimes, so that way they can pay, the company can pay themselves really well and pay you a little bit for selling it, and they're kind of laughing all the way to the bank while you're like, I've got some chump change now, you know, like, so you have to be mindful of that, and you should never let a business like that come in between your friends and your family, because I feel like your family should always come first. That to me is a big thing. And if your upline or people that are in your group or whatever are telling you, oh, whatever, you don't need them, to me that's ridiculous. Like, if there's a valid reason, sometimes people in your family can be toxic, and there's a valid reason to be like, I don't want to deal with that person anymore. That's fine. But if it's because they're not purchasing shampoo from you, but they're buying it from Target, if I can get 10 bottles of shampoo that work for me for the same price I could get one bottle from you, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to purchase that shampoo. That's just not going to work for me. I don't spend a ton of money on like luxury products. While I do sometimes get like a nicer type, I mean, I can get a brand that's very established, like Paul Mitchell, or, you know, I can't even think of the names of them at the moment, but, you know, and the same goes for like if you're selling like Avon or lipstick or skincare. I have a ton of stuff like that already. I don't need any more. And not everybody goes through, you know, all these products every month. Sometimes the supplements are like a monthly thing, but even that, like, not everybody wants like a super expensive supplement or shakes when you could just get them at the local store. And if you read the ingredients or the list of like what it has in it, a lot of times you can find something that's almost exactly the same, if not the exact same amounts of things, for like half as much or even less than that. So that makes a huge difference, and I think you need to be a little bit more respectful of people than other people that I've seen, because just being nice about it, you can definitely advertise your business and you can definitely talk about it, but it shouldn't dominate everything that you're doing. It should not take over your life. Like, get a decal, put it on the back of your car so that if someone sees it and is like, hey, I'm looking for some Arbonne, I'm looking for some Avon, I need some Mary Kay, I need some LuLaRoe, or, you know, whatever the heck it is that you're selling, so people know, let me call this number, let me check out this website, let me email this person, because they will do that. That it's not as common, but I personally never want to feel like I was pressuring somebody into buying something, which unfortunately for someone who's in the sales business, it makes it harder for you. But I'd rather be able to sleep at night than feel like I'm pressuring people and making people feel like crap or alienating people in my life because I want them as a customer. Because it makes you feel very used. It makes you feel very cheap when you're like, okay, we're supposed to be friends, but like all you ever want to talk about is this business that you do. And I get that you like it and that it's cool, but I'm not interested. I don't want to sell it. I don't like the products. I'm just not into it. And while you're completely free to participate in that business and to do whatever you would like with it, I'm also free to not participate in it and not purchase from it. You know, we have each of us our own prerogative, and that's personally like what some people just, they're not into it. And you know, sometimes people are perfectly happy with the brands that they use, and a lot of times, especially for like hair care and vitamins and things like that, people typically find a brand that they like and stick to it. So if they always get it at Costco, it's very difficult for them to deviate. Like my mom is obsessed with some eye cream. I think it's called like Yves Rocher or something like that. It's like French, but she swears by it. And like there's people in my family that sell other skincare products and stuff. She will not try anything else because that's what she loves. It works for her. She enjoys it. It is what it is. So if someone's loyal to that brand, you're probably not going to sway them to use something else. And you have to just accept that, I think. Because hounding people just seems so ugly, you know? Okay, nah, I have like a little list so I don't forget because I tend to like go off on tangents. But another thing is don't invest too much money into your business. And I don't mean that like kind of like the same as like don't be your own best customer. Don't be buying a bunch of product. Don't go, you know, if there's something you will use and you'd like to try it, that's fine. Like if you need shampoo and that's what you sell, because I know like when I sold Avon, you know, anytime the shampoo was on sale, I was buying it. Anytime the hair oil was on sale, I would buy it. It was like $8 and it worked decently for what I needed, you know? Or like if there's a lipstick that I was looking at and it went on sale, I would buy it. Things like that. But even then I was going overboard. But you don't want to spend too much money on things. Like you do want to be able to talk about the product and say, hey, I use this and it works really great. That's always good, but don't bullshit people. Don't lie and say, oh, this worked for me when you haven't even tried it. Because I know a lot of times like brands will come out with a brand new product and it's barely out. Like for Avon, you can only get it maybe like a couple weeks early to try it. So I mean like, especially if it's a supplement, you can't even really give like a valid opinion. But people will be pushing it like they've been using it for years. And that kind of annoyed me. Because I don't like the dishonesty. But you don't want to max out credit cards and be having like this whole room of like crap for you to sell because it's difficult. And I know someone who is an Avon representative that they don't even sell that much, but they still actively do sometimes. But she has so much stuff because anytime there's like a customer return, she never returns it. She just keeps it. So she's got like a closet full of crap that's just sitting there that she's not going to use, and I don't know what she's going to do with it. And she complains about it, but she's not actually do anything about it. I suggested maybe do like those gift baskets and stuff, put them together at Christmas time and see if you can get some of it sold just to clear it out. But nobody wants to be stuck with a bunch of stuff like that. And I don't want to see people like wasting money to do that. Let's see. Okay, this one's also a good one. When you're interacting with people, be kind and respectful to people. Don't be like, oh, you're a loser because you're working this job. Like, you just want to be a basic bitch and just make some hourly wage and stuff. You know what? Hourly wages pay the bills. They do. And if someone's happy paying the bills the way that they do and they're doing what they need to do, who the hell are you to come in and be like, oh, you need to do something different because we're going to be making millions. But you're not making millions. And most of them are just full of shit. Like, and a lot of people know that. Like, the thing is, like, everybody tries to act like it's this big secret that nobody knows. People know a lot of MLM people are losing money. Not everybody, but a lot of them. So don't be rude to people. Don't be cold messaging people. Interact with people. It's okay to add people you don't know from groups that you think, hey, maybe this person is interested, but don't just come at them from an angle, I want to sell to this person. Say, hey, let me comment on some of their posts. Let me see what they're about. Let me at least have some kind of interaction before I like spam them, you know? The last two things I think kind of go together, but one of them is don't be too trusting. A lot of times uplines and like people above you in like the group are very like supportive and sweet and they'll act like they're your best friend, but the second you're not making them money, they will drop you like a hot potato. They don't give two shits. They really don't. These people are not your honest to God friend. They just aren't. If it's someone that you knew before, maybe they are still, but a lot of times they have this mentality like, if you're not making money, you're a loser. You're beneath me. I don't want to do anything with you. And that's rude. And not everyone is made to sell products. They're just not. And especially when you have to recruit, which I personally would prefer people just be a salesperson rather than recruiting. Because you're diluting your own sales pool, which I think is, like, most franchises have like a no competition rule where like you can't have a franchise set up too close to another one because of that. They don't want that like flooded like market going on. And when you're recruiting a ton of people, you're literally flooding the market and like essentially stealing your own sales, your own customers, and that's not a good thing. The very last thing is just have realistic expectations. If they tell you, oh, you can make like $5,000 a month, maybe some people do, and maybe you can be one of those people, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen immediately, and it may never happen. You may never, get the car or whatever it is that they promise you. Be realistic, like, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do my best. And hopefully I'm going to at least, make some extra money. Like, to me, I feel like you should look at it as it's a side hustle. Don't act like this is your bread and butter. This is not your main job. Don't quit your job. Don't quit your school. Don't do any of that. But, like, be realistic about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And just be a decent person about all of it. Because that's really one of the biggest things. And it's super important because nobody wants to buy anything from somebody that's being rude. Like, a lot of times I see these, like, MLM people going on rants, and I'm like, I would never in my life purchase anything from this person because it comes off as rude and desperate, and clearly they're not making the sales they need to, because anybody that's making money like they claim is not gonna come off like that. Because truthfully, people that are successful don't freaking care. They'll be like, you know what, I'm making money, I don't have time for this, and just won't even waste their time. So if they're popping off and like talking shit, they're desperate. They're desperate for sales, they're desperate for recruits, and they're not making their bills. So when people are acting like that, don't let that fool you that they're successful. Successful people do not behave that way. They just don't. I'm not saying successful people can't be an asshole, but they definitely don't behave like that. So if you are thinking about joining an MLM, or you're currently in an MLM, please take these things to heart and kind of at least use those as a guide to help you into doing what you decided to do, and do it effectively, but while being a decent person. I know some people like, oh, I would never support an MLM. It would, like, the anti-MLM people would probably attack me for this. I don't really recommend being in an MLM personally, but just because I don't recommend it, I don't own everybody, it's not my decision, it's not my life. I'm my own keeper, whatever. So if someone decides that they want to do it, I feel like it's important for there to be actual knowledge of something realistic that, gives you some kind of guideline and how to protect yourself and look after yourself, because these people will pretend to be your best friend and then screw you over or push you into situations that you shouldn't be in. There's many people that have gone bankrupt, lost their house, things like that, because their upline was telling them, oh, live like a really lavish. You gotta like have the Louis Vuitton bag. You gotta have this fancy car. You gotta have the big house. You don't have to do any of those things. You don't have to feel, and you should never feel pressured to do those things. Live your life comfortably, but don't overextend yourself. Don't overdo it. Even if you get a taste of a little money, save some of it. Set yourself up so that if the money stops, you still have something to rely on. Because, being a salesperson, you never know. Like, anything could happen. And what if people drop out? Like, what if you have a huge downline and then suddenly half of them just quit and you lose a huge amount of money? That could be your mortgage payment. That could be your car payment. That could be so many things. So you have to be mindful of these special details, because you honestly just never know. And so no matter what it is you decide to do, whether you are 100% anti-MLM or, you're okay with supporting somebody's business, like, I don't think it's wrong to, if your aunt sells Tupperware and you're like, you know what, I need a couple freezer containers, I don't think there's any shame in making a purchase from them. Or like, sometimes I like to make pizza at home. So if I knew someone that sold Pampered Chef and I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to try one of those pizza things. Let me support your business and I'm going to get this because it's something I will genuinely use. I don't think there's anything wrong with purchasing from those brands. I don't think that that's wrong. And some people will say you shouldn't support these companies, and I would rather not. But these are individual people. And if it's someone that you love and you care about, and they're not necessarily pressuring you, but you know that it's something you actually want and you would use, or you've used, maybe you just like Avon and there's a couple things that you like to get, that's okay too. I think that people need to stop being so hateful on either side and find a common ground where if you're in an MLM and you're happy with it, that's fine. As long as you're not hurting other people, I don't think that it's wrong. And it's natural for everybody to want to do something. Not all of us are cut out for a 9-to-5 either. So no matter where you are in your life or what your situation is, I hope that you are being smart about it. I hope you are being, kind to people, and I hope you're being kind to yourself, and I hope that you are successful in whatever it is that you are doing. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys are interested in more videos like this, let me know, and I will definitely come up with some more, because I do have some crazy MLM stories from when I was in them and why I decided to not be in them anymore. But that is for another time. This video is already like super long. So anyways, thank you so much and have an awesome day.